I like being milked as much as the next guy. I love being extracted from. But Wizards of the Coast, behave. On the D&D Beyond community blog yesterday, there was an announcement that they're going to be increasing the price of Dungeons & Dragons books from the MSRP for the digital and physical combo from $60 to $70. Obviously, that's the digital combo. We get both books and digital copies. The physical copies don't start at $70 or $60, right? I believe on Amazon you can get the Player's Handbook for like £30 or £35. So I would expect a 10, 15 or even 20% increase in that in the UK. This comes off the back of them last week announcing that Arena in Europe, the Magic the Gathering online client, will be upping its prices by 10% as well, or as much as 10%. Some things were less than 10%, but most of them were 10%. Prices go up, but don't forget Wizards of the Coast made, Wizards of the Coast, not just Hasbro, but Wizards of the Coast made $1.3 billion last year in revenue, not just profit. But still, they are making insane money. They are the thing making the money for Hasbro for the most part. Anyway, let's talk about it. If you want to buy a single product or sealed product for card games like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, you can hit the link in the description below to Cool Stuff Inc. to get 5% off your order and help support the show. I made this meme back in about 4 months ago, at the end of last year, talking about and joking about where Wizards of the Coast were going with the next year.
All right. Good to see you. My name's
Wizards of the Coast.
And I'm here to show you how to milk a cow.
But I think the meme would have been more apt if the man sat on the bench was Hasbro and the two cows were Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. I did a cursory Google to find the exact numbers, and according to businesswire.com, the first quarter revenues of Hasbro were down by 14%, whilst Magic the Gathering's revenues increased by 16% year over year. Magic just keeps making money. The Magic the Gathering money printer goes burr. Hasbro have these things called investor calls or fireside chats for smaller ones, where basically they shoot the shit and let the people who are invested in Hasbro know they're doing the right thing. Many, many moons ago, we're talking 2, maybe 3 years ago, they talked about when the Jace Swish shoe thingy came about before Secret Lairs were a thing. They talked about how direct-to-consumer sales was going to be one of their focuses for growing the brand. Or brands, should I say. And lo and behold, Secret Lairs sold to customers. These things are very good for giving us an idea of where we're going. Back in the post-2021, so I think it was the early 2022 one, they talked about how Modern Horizons 2 at the time was the first set to ever make $200 million for Wizards of the Coast. And in a recent, it wasn't an investor call, but it was like a statement on a blog somewhere. Maybe I'll find it and stick it on screen, I don't know. But Wizards talked about how the Warhammer Commander decks were one of the successful Commander decks, or one of the successful decks of all time for Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast, being on its 4th or 5th printing at this point. This tells us that expensive supplementary sets where everyone's clamoring to get the new hot power crept cards from Modern and Commander and the Universes Beyond are both very good ways to make some fucking money. And then we have Lord of the Rings. It's a combination of both of those things. There is a potential though that Lord of the Rings might be unpower crept as they try to do those two things in a way to make the money that they have in the past, whilst also not pissing off the player base by giving them more broken shit like Modern Horizons 2. Maybe the design team will score a goal with that one. We'll see in about 2 weeks' time when previews happen. But in essence, Hasbro are not doing too hot. They have controversy after controversy, and their toy sales aren't really pushing the company upwards. They might be doing okay. You might say, wow, as a company, you don't have to make more profit every year, but that's not how these companies or the investors in these companies want to look at it. They want more money, more of the time, all the profit, all the time. Increase those fucking margins, make that line go up. And Hasbro hasn't been doing that. Like I said, they were down 13% last quarter overall. Meanwhile, a portion of Hasbro, which is Wizards of the Coast, the company that owns both D&D and Magic, were up 16%. Wizards of the Coast is the golden goose. They are the cow you can milk, and you can milk, and you can milk, and you can milk. They're the cash cow. And they are the thing that Hasbro is going to be milking. In another investment call last year, prior to the trailer, or around the time the trailer for the D&D film came out, when they were asked if they were overprinting Magic the Gathering because of what Bank of America had done in claiming they were and lowering them as an investment stock option in terms of how good they were, because they think Wizards and Hasbro are mismanaging the brand, is what the bank was saying. Anyway, they said 2 things of a note. One, they are not overprinting Magic the Gathering. That's debatable. I mean, you have to unpack what overprinting means as well. Are they printing too much of every single card, or are they just making too many products? There's a whole discussion to be had there. The whole community laughed though, because no matter which semantic argument you make, it's kind of clear that Wizards are fumbling the bag there a little bit. But beyond that, they also mentioned how Dungeons & Dragons is under monetized. I spoke about this at the time as like a side tangent in another video about Magic. But that is a scary thing to hear from a big company, because that means something's happening. Fast forward to now, and we're seeing a price increase across the board for all D&D book products, which is crazy considering the books are already too expensive. A entry point for D&D, if they want you to buy a player's handbook, a DM guide, and one of the adventures, is like fucking upwards of $100 for a game that is basically theatre of the goddamn mind. They're going up, and they're also still charging you double for digital and physical. This is something I'm going to do a video on that probably comes out tomorrow or Friday about online digital platforms for games, for D&D or for Magic or for any other card game, where I think it's fucking ludicrous that these companies expect you to buy in twice. Or in the case of Magic, 3 fucking times if you want to play paper, standard or historical, whatever, like digital client arena game mode you want. If you want to play legacy or modern or any of that stuff, then buy into fucking Modo as well. It's dumb as shit. Pokemon gives codes, fucking codes, and everything. Everything gives you digital product. It's so good, and it makes Wizards offerings laughable. And that's the same for fucking D&D as well. Did you know everyone's favorite company to shit upon for being the big boy, the monolithic entity in wargaming, Warhammer 40k by Games motherfucking Workshop? They have codes in their codices to allow you to unlock this on the app. Now, I think honestly the rules should just be free, because your models are expensive enough, and if you give me good rules, I'll buy good models. I'm already considering buying a Stomper after the Orc previews today. But even James Workshop, known for their predatory practices, known for having an expensive product, they will give you the digital shit if you buy the physical. Pokemon Company and Nintendo and Games Workshop will do it, but Wizards won't. They never fucking will, because they want you to double dip. They want you to pay a silly amount of fucking money to play their games. Best games, worst company. And that's another point that I want to say when I say that line as well. The people designing this stuff, the people who design Magic, I think they do a good job for the most part. Power creep has been bad at points, and we've been burnt by things like Horizons and the rotation of modern and things, but on the whole, they do a good job. I genuinely believe that. Even when you need massive standard bands, I still think on the whole, they do a good job. With a gameplay by this many people, at this high of a level of complexity, of multiple formats, there's gonna be blunders. I think the designers do a good job. But the people designing the cards are not designing the products per se. If they're designing the products, they're not choosing the price point. They don't get to make these decisions. This is by higher-ups at Wizards, not even Hasbro, but higher-ups at Wizards who aren't making the game as such. They're making the way in which we engage with and purchase the game. But wait, there's more. The under-monetization of D&D does not end there, my friends, with a 20% price increase on your books. Oh, sorry, I'm saying 20, it's more like 18. Let's do a bit quick maths. Anyway, D&D Next, or D&D 1, or whatever the fucking stupid name for 6th edition is aiming to have a digital client. I, for one, actually like this idea. I haven't spoken about this much in videos before, but I do like it when we get a centralized client. I hate having the power being given to the big corporations going to rinse us for fucking money, but I do like being able to pair into or easily get access to stuff and play the game at weird hours. D&D is a weird one because you aren't trying to queue on ladder, so I don't know if this translates the same, but I much prefer this than trying to string together a party who are playing via Discord, although you probably use Discord for audio already, Discord, Tabletop Simulator, Roll20, VTT, and all that. Like all these 1,000 things I need to do to get one game going. I like the idea of a centralized platform if it's good. However, I don't think we really understand or know how the monetization for this system is going to work yet. I'm assuming that cosmetics will be a charge. And if cosmetics are the main charge, then in a normal game like Magic the Gathering, I wouldn't hate it, because cosmetics don't matter if the core game pieces are cheap. But wait, they're not. Magic is charging you for every fucking game piece you can get, with a wildcard system and a lack of dust that sucks, and a fucking online economy that's getting more expensive, not just for the cosmetics like, say, Runeterra or Pokemon TCG Online, Pokemon Live does. And also on top of all that, the fucking aesthetics, the fucking cosmetics, they matter more in D&D, because D&D is more about that sort of thing, about kitting out your character and looking and feeling how you want, because the game is this weird customizable sandbox, the social experiment sort of thing. Social situation kind of thing. But we're gonna get charged up the arse off for everything. Maybe, I didn't really look into this bit, maybe they've promised us that isn't the case, but I am not looking forward to seeing how they how they monetize this new digital platform. I think we're gonna see worse than what we get with D&D Beyond right now, which I already think is a joke in terms of cost. So, are Hasbro going to milk Magic the Gathering any further? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of price increase somewhere. We've already seen 10% in Europe for Arena, and I assume we'll see a little bit here and there. Things that are like, not stealth, but they're so small that they don't get the community really angry. But ultimately, there's a weird thing happening in Magic where the milking is happening more in the collector side of things and the cosmetics, which I actually agree with in a way. We're seeing an increase in price in stuff like master sets that we don't necessarily need to play the main competitive game, and in the collector boosters. At the moment, 4 Commander Masters collector boosters will run you around £215 in the UK. So that's £50 a fucking booster, which is insane. Meanwhile, the not premium price, supposedly Lord of the Rings set, the collector boosters for those will run you around £35. Some places have them at 30, but they're sold out. I'll do a video detailing this, but the reason they're that expensive for the collector boosters for those, and will continue to go up, I don't think we've seen the height of where collector boosters for Lord of the Rings will go. But the reason is because there's serialized cards in them, although there might be serialized in Commander Masters. We actually just don't know at the moment. But there's also the One Ring, the 1 of 1, serialized 1 of 1, the One Ring, which will sell for, I was conservatively saying 50 grand originally, but this is going to sell, you know, upwards of 500k, maybe even approaching $1 million at some point. This is going to be one of the most expensive card sales of all time when it's found. So you're playing a lottery, a 1 in 3 million chance lottery. Again, I'm going to unpack this all for anyone who's searching for this information online. A bit of SEO bait in a way, but yeah, 1 in 3 million chance to get one of these boosters. And if the fucking One Ring doesn't show up early on, I can see these sealed boosters starting to creep up in price. Of course, if the One Ring is found, the booster price might tank if there's not really that much else in there besides the Elven, Dwarven, and Human rings. I guess that's why they're in there, to keep that hype going once the One Ring has been found. Of course, the secondary market value of these, once they're out and shipped to distributors and then onto stores, doesn't affect Wizards, but it does keep people invested in the game in this gambling box of opening boosters, hoping to open the valuable shit. What I'm getting at is that collector boosters is where they are milking this cash cow. They're pushing the collectability into direct-to-sell consumer stuff like Secret Lair and the essentially gambling aspect of expensive packs like collector boosters. If that means we don't see an increase in draft boosters, and if that means that the average staple for Standard or Commander goes down in price, although somehow shouldered still $50, then I'm all for it. I will bang this drum until the cows come home, but Magic the Gathering as a game should be cheap and accessible, and then the fancy pants, alternate arts, and frame treatment should be the expensive parts. We aren't quite there yet, but I actually believe, if we get off our soapbox shouting about Wizards' fucking greed for a moment, that they are moving the game in the right direction with what they've done with the collectability of serialized cards, halo foils, and alternate frames. It's a confusing fucking mess. We have a 50 card product like Aftermath coming out with 400 different product codes if you were trying list every card and variant on a website, which is basically a fool's errand at this point because half of it's worth fuck all. There are some expensive hits in Aftermath, but they'll get cheaper as more gets open. No one's opening it at the moment. Don't open Aftermath. I genuinely believe that Pokemon does it right with the occasional, like, there's a whole swath of like 30 odd alternate rares, alternate arts, and some of them will end up being the expensive ones that are desirable or the most rare. I think having an alternate art, alternate frame version of every fucking card in a set to make the whole thing a confusing mess is a little bit overkill. So there are positives and negatives to the whole boost of fun collectability of Magic. But I don't think we've seen the end of it all. I don't think we've seen the end of the price increases and milking of these two properties. Hasbro are being propped up by Wizards of the Coast when they can't make enough fucking money selling Mr. Potato Heads or whatever. I'm not knocking you, by the way. If you're Mr. Potato Head collector, tell me in the comment section below. I want to know. I want to know how that works. But Wizards of the Coast are a success story, an ongoing golden goose that they will not stop milking. And obviously, we just need to be aware that this might be the detriment of some of these games. We already saw the open game license get fucked around with last year. I can't believe I haven't mentioned it up until this point in the video. But that was because they were trying to monetize D&D heavier, and the D&D community reacted very badly to the point that they had to U-turn, which was fantastic to see a big fucking W taken by the community. It's frustrating to see companies just make profit after profit after profit and then up the price for the end consumer, blaming shipping costs. I should really mention this. They blamed fucking tax issues in Europe for the arena increase. They're blaming shipping cost increases for the books. It's obviously true that things go up in cost, but also you're already making huge fucking margins. So to offset that to the customer or use it as an excuse to push a margin even further is gross. And I genuinely believe that is what they're doing here. The line always has to go up. Late stage capitalism and all that. I guess some people in the comments always do. There's always a couple of you that are saying, sorry, you're poor, which is not what I was saying at all. I just think it's fucking shit when companies take the piss. And I want to call it out and call it out for you guys too. I was excited about the D&D like digital client. I really was. I don't play much D&D at the moment, but I was hoping I'll play some more later this year or next year with people via the digital client. But they're going to rinse me, fleece me. I probably won't. You got to remember that all this stuff is very easy to pirate. I'm not saying you should pirate, but it's very easy to pirate. There's also like 1,001 different fucking RPGs out there. There's stuff by Games Workshop that I would like to give a go that I probably would never. I always think about trying to play Dark Heresy or Wrath and Glory and stuff. I bought the rulebook for that one, which was expensive. But I'm always thinking I'll probably end up back on D&D or even something simpler like Hero Quest, right? With my friends who play with me who are fucking idiots and can't keep track of their character sheets. But ultimately, if the price of D&D is going to keep going up and up and up, I might try one of those other things. There's only so far you can push it before you're not the dominant dog anymore. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have not picked up a PlayMat, they're on screen right now. Hit the link in the description below to help support the channel. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you fucking tired of this? How much D&D do you even buy? Let me know down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.